Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this, morning, Dav. Welcome to this information session. What we're doing on insurance. It's about home insurance. It's pretty much for everyone. It can be for your own personal property, or it can be for buy-to-let property owners and investors. And I'm joined by Dav Kumar. We're going to look at what Dav does, which is loss assessing. I'm going to explain what a loss assessor is and give you some examples of how a loss assessor can work for you, and even more importantly, how to handle your insurance and how to make sure that you're fully covered. And then in the event that you do ever have to make an insurance claim, we're going to show you what Dav can do for you, and how he can employ his company to like rebuild your home or to refurbish your home after some water damage or whatever it may be. So I'll let Dav tell us a little bit more about what is a loss assessor, Dav. What can you explain to people? Because when I first heard about what you were doing, I didn't understand it. So maybe you could just give a bit of a information about what you actually do in your company.
Thank you, Ben. Yeah. So as loss assessors, we help people with their insurance claims. We're claims handlers. People generally don't know about loss assessors, and they don't know about our service.
Yeah, I was the same with that. I had no idea. When you first said loss assessor, I was sort of thinking some like the guy that comes out when you got a claim to come and look at the property and say, all right, we'll give you, like, you insured it for 100,000, we'll give you like 75 or whatever that is, but that's not the case, is it?
When you submit your claim, they send somebody out there known as a loss adjuster. And I know the names are nearly quite the same, so it's a bit confusing. I suppose that's why I prefer to be known maybe as a claims handler, just so it's quite a bit different. A loss adjuster is sent out by the insurance company. A loss assessor works for you. They're employed by you, instructed by you, and we only work for the insured. We never work for the insurance companies.
So with a loss assessor like yourself, some people do an insurance claim, but they don't use a loss assessor. Is that right? You don't have to use a loss assessor, but when you know about them, you want to use one.
You're absolutely right. You most certainly don't need to use a loss assessor. And I'm not saying for a moment that all of the insurance claims that go through have difficulties. We can show you the kind of work that we do. I think that we can leave it up to people to see whether they want to look at using our service. People say, if you go to court, would you use a solicitor? More often than not, I would have thought people, when they go to court, if they have to go to court, would use a solicitor.
Yeah,
we would say the same. If you have to make an insurance claim, we would most certainly use a loss assessor. Somebody else said, if you're insuring your car, and we don't do car insurance, we don't sell insurance policies right now, but if you had, say, £100,000 car, would you insure that on a third-party basis? You wouldn't. You'd want to go with quality, same as look at it when you're making a claim. We absolutely understand insurance claims. We understand the insurance documents. They are complex. I don't honestly think they're meant to be understood by a lay person.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're like me, I mean, I think most people are. Insurance can be a real boring subject, and when you get your call up for your insurance, you go, all right, what's the cheapest? I'll get that one done. I'm insured. Put the file away for another year, and then that's it. You don't look at it. You get a pile of paper like that, come through the post. You go, oh, not got time. Too busy. We're all busy people. We've all got a lot of things to do. Put it away. I'm sorted for a year, but that's fine if nothing happens. But if something does happen and you've got a problem, then that's where you can take that insurance document out and look at it and go, hang on a minute, I'm not actually covered,
You mentioned there about purchasing the policy and then putting it away. Well, as we can see here, this is an RSA policy. This is from April 2019. This is not dissimilar to the norm. This, as you can see at the bottom, it says there page 1 of 68 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, as loss assessors, this is what we have to understand. When somebody presents us with a claim, whether it's a fire, a flood, escape of water, impact damage, then we have to understand this. We understand this from our years of experience. You've got all of the small print and everything that's contained in here. Yeah. This is what helps somebody work the way through. The actual contract itself has 3 different parts, but each one is just as important. Another document is the insurance statement of fact. So when you took out the policy, and before you say that to most people do put it away, which isn't something that we would recommend. We would recommend looking at your policy documents on a regular basis, perhaps monthly to bi-monthly at the worst, just to make sure that everything continues to remain the same, unless you have to perhaps update the insurance company with a change. So say, for example, if you're going away on a long holiday, say more than a month, you'd most certainly be looking at informing the insurers. But many other circumstances that would kick in where it's worth just telling them. If there's a change in the premium or something, trust me, it's well worth paying an extra premium. But this, the statement of fact. So this is what information you supplied them with up front. This will come back at the point of making a claim, because they'll go over this again to make sure that what you said to them is correct. If a loss adjuster comes out, they'll check this as well. So say, for example, this one here, the premises were purchased in 2004, the premises were built in 1950, the premises are built of brick, stone or concrete with slate, bricks, concrete, metal or asbestos roof. If it was a flat roof, well, then we may well have a problem, sufficient maybe to even cancel the claim. Do you want to be in that position? I wouldn't have thought so. You don't pay for the policy to then, when you're looking at making a claim, to find out that actually you can't claim because something's not been stated correctly. Just a final document then for the policy contracts. So we've looked very briefly at the policy, we've looked at the statement of fact. The final document is the insurance schedule. The schedule shows you what you're actually covered for. 99.9% of the time, if it's not listed on here, then you're not covered for that. I've come across it on odd occasions, very rare indeed, where even though it's not on here, there is that bit of cover somewhere else, maybe in the small print of the policy, but very rare. So in here you will see that's the buildings. This isn't the buildings sum that you bought the property for. It's the rebuild value of the property. £123,720 is what you said that the building rebuild value is. They've done a little uplift there, so the property is covered for £142,278. That's what it's covered for the buildings. Landlord's contents there, it says there's no cover there. The next bit down, the rent, annual rent receivable, loss of rent is included. So if there was a total disaster, and if for whatever reason you couldn't get any income in, the insurance policy would pay up to £24,000 for a total period of 12 months.
Yeah, so you'd hope you could sort it out within 12 months, because I know we spoke about this when you looked at my insurance, and that was something that needed to be considered, because you know, if you do have a problem, I mean, actually, the guy, I've got a rental property, an apartment, where the guy downstairs called me, or through the management company. He said, you've got a leak in your apartment. This was like a couple of months ago. So I got a plumber straight round there, and we looked at it. It wasn't actually coming from my place, but it was a waste pipe that was running between the 2 walls, and it was leaking down into his property. So he had to move his tenants out of there, and it wasn't a quick fix for him. So like, he had to, you know, if he weren't covered, he would have had to pay for a hotel or for an alternate accommodation, wouldn't he, for people? So like we've discussed before, when you look at my insurance, you've got to be covered for that. Thanks for your time on this video, and if you're interested in actually delving a bit deeper into what DAV and what Imperial claims can do if you've got a problem, an insurance claim, then join us on the next video. All right, thanks very much for joining.
Thank you. Thank you.